So our whole focus for the term was set up by John, which was, and the leadership team around entrepreneurs and innovators. So we started off and we looked into Richard Branson, and in particular his Virgin Galactic, which is his airplane company, his space exploration company. And so that was where we kind of modelled through and we looked at the characteristics and then put it onto ourselves. So that's sort of how we got into it. From there, we've had a few earthquakes in New Zealand recently. In the back of my mind, I had the idea of going down survival kits as a hole in the market that we should be filling. So we went there, and then we got all our own characteristics, which we thought were important in an entrepreneur, and carried on through. So my main focus was science this term, because that's one of the things I hadn't covered in the detail that I wanted to.
Yeah.
So we were looking at like water usage, water purification, science of batteries, LEDs, bulbs, and how it all worked. So we started off, and that was in our immersion. We actually had a day in my classroom where we just blacked out all the windows, turned off the lights. We had no power. So we looked at torches, and we didn't say anything. I just said, just bring your torches, bring your iPads, your phones and everything. So they brought it all and they experimented and saw what it was like. So we looked at the battery usage. If I wanted to search for something, what sort of bulb do I use? Do I use like a one that's got a narrow beam, or do I want the one that spreads? And this came out of them. They were the ones saying, well, that's the one we'd want if we were building a survival kit. So we thought Christchurch is where the earthquakes came from, so we started writing a letter to Christchurch. However, we were too slow. We were too slow getting into Christchurch because it would have taken too long to get the letters back. So we wrote the letters, we finished them, but we couldn't really send them because by then we would get the reply and it would be too late. So that's just the way that went. But we then went through and we looked at the certain characteristics. So this is one of the organisers we used, looking at what we thought the human needs were, and these are the main focuses that you look through with real life learning. So we filled in those, we carried on down, we went into Venn diagrams, looking at the particular things. We then went into another diagram organiser that went into way more detail, but I haven't got a picture of that one. Carrying on down, we then researched items. So these are the items that the kids put in the kit themselves. So the torches and everything that way. We went through logos, right the way through down. This is the one we chose. This was us classifying the torches on the no power day. So looking at certain things with the battery sizes, whether that has anything to do with the LEDs. We looked at glow sticks, which was amazing because we thought, they're just dancing rave toys, but they weren't really. One girl did maths for an hour with just that light. So she sat there, it was right next to her work, and she did no problems. So they've obviously developed a bit since when I was around. We looked into aqua tablets, so we tested a whole lot of water that is around the environment. Like down here there's a couple of big ponds that look really disgusting, so we put the aqua tablets and we tested them.
Who was the guinea pig?
We didn't actually drink the water afterwards.
It sort of looked okay.
Yeah, well, theoretically, if you do it properly, like the same thing, if this is Bear Grylls, the guy off Man vs Wild. Yeah, it's the same sort of thing, but no, we didn't try. We wanted to go down the water thing. We tried to get companies in to come and do it, but per test, they were going to charge us $187 per test, and we did 12 tests. So we couldn't afford it. But that was one of our science things, so I had to veer off further down the batteries and light bulbs because I couldn't go down this path. And this is, I planned to go the waterway, but it wouldn't work, so I just had to veer off, carrying on with my science thing to go down that one. So that's Bear Grylls, and he does this thing with a sock, and he puts all this grass and things in that goes on through. For my writing, because everything relates into it, we were doing procedures. So this was the basic one here. We did it on how to make a bacon sandwich straight off YouTube. So we started off with a sheet like this, and then they went through and they've created their own ones which will go in the survival kit. So that's looking at what to do in a tsunami, tornadoes, shelters, everything, water purity, like it's all in there which will go in the kit when we sell it. We've gone through here, we've looked at some budget stuff. We've also gone into income and expenses. So that was looking at where we're getting the items from, because the kids did all their research. Because they're big enough to, confident, they get on the phone, they say, I want this, I want a discount, what are you going to do? And, sorry, I can't do anything, they'll try somewhere else. And that's the thing that kids are going to be able to do. Dragon's Den, they planned for it, so that's when John and a whole lot of his dragons had our kids along the front. 4 of them had to present the idea, saying we want $150, this is what we're going to do with the money, and that was to buy all the particular items. So like this is one item that we bought, and so that we could take pictures for the kids. However, we came across a few problems. So this is out. We've actually got our Dragon's Den that's online at the moment. Some of the products that we got had acid coming out of the bottom of the battery. So the kids are like, this isn't cool. So they're emailing back to these guys and saying, we've got problems with the torches you've given us, they don't work. And it's these kids that are doing these real emails to these companies saying, we're going to lose money, our name's at stake here, and it's crazy. This one here is my favourite. They clearly show that there is a knife, like a saw, on this card. However, the actual card does not have a saw. So this girl goes, they're ripping us off. So she gets in touch with this guy and she writes this amazing email. And I was just sitting there going, like she was like, yours sincerely, and then she's like, nah, yours unhappily. And it was really, really well written. She wasn't rude, but she was saying, you've sold us this product, online it says you've got this, you don't have this. What are you going to do? And it's this attitude of challenging it. It's not just taking the way through this. So then where we're up to now is we've got all the items for our kits, and we're going through. Some of you were in my room this morning, and we're actually deciding, are we happy with the value of money in each kit? Are we happy to sell that for that particular amount of money? Would your parents buy it? And that's where we're up to now. We're also doing our flyer drop, which is our where we're sending the flyers into the letterbox. So we're sorting out how many flyers we need. We're designing the flyers too. So yeah, that's where my class are heading. But as you can see, everything ties into it. My maths is into it with my budgeting and my accounting, my communication. Everything's there.